Hi, and welcome to the NVR, Non-Violent Resistance series of small webcasts. My name is Claire O'Donovan. I'm a family engagement worker and an NVR accredited practitioner. Southampton City Council have asked me to put together this series of short videos to help families who are struggling with challenging behaviours from their children. So hi, in this section we're going to talk about relational gestures. This is a key part of the NVR strategy, repairing the relationship which is broken down between a parent and a child when things are difficult, really helps to establish a sense of care again. It can be really tough, and it's a really difficult thing for lots of parents to get their head round. But essentially, we're parents and we love our children. Sometimes I think that we just assume that they know that. And relational gestures helps us to kind of reaffirm that. Relational gestures for our children, they're unconditional. They're not based on the behaviour. They're not something that you take away from them because you feel they don't deserve it. They're small and symbolic. They're not day trips to Sprinkles or Legoland. They're small things that just make a difference. There's acts of kindness, moments when you think of them, when you maybe wouldn't normally, or they wouldn't think that you were thinking of them. Little things that you can do that will just put a smile on their face. Repairing the relationship. When you do something kind for somebody, it gives you a sense of, a warm, fuzzy sense of, love, I suppose. And in receipt of those kind of actions, they get that too. That's the bit you're trying to capture in these relational gestures. You're trying to just grab hold of that, those moments that perhaps when they were younger, you had more often. They can be flexible. They will suit each individual child. No child is the same. No household is the same. So whatever relational gesture you choose to do for your children, it will be determined by them. And it might change over time as they get older. A relational gesture of a hug or a story at bedtime when they're 8 probably won't wash when they're 14. So you may have to be flexible with it, change your approaches, but don't ever lose the fact that this is the one thing that will develop a sense of care in you and your child. And if your child cares how you feel and knows that you care about them, they will start to consider your feelings in their behaviour choices as they get older. It's something different to the norm. A lot of the parents that I work with in the groups will say, but I tell them I love them every day. Or I make their beds, I cook for them, I wash their clothes. And it's what I'm asking you to do is something that you don't already do. Something that is unexpected, something that they're not going to realise or take for granted. Yeah? It's also something that it doesn't have to be even acknowledged or recognised. You're not doing this so that your children will turn around and thank you for it. You're doing it because you're their parent and you love them. Some examples that we've had in the past and some examples that I'm aware of through other parents that have done courses are one-to-one kind of child-led time. I know that's hard because if you've got multiple children who all want a little bit of your time, it can be tough. But if you can just prioritise and just say 10 minutes, whether it be at bedtime or on a weekend, use a family member to maybe give you some space, you really will find the benefit of that. Notes in their lunch boxes. Mummy loves you. Daddy says hi. You've got chips for tea. Doesn't matter what it says. It's just the fact that you've thought about them when they're not there. Maybe text if they're old enough to a mobile phone. Send a funny little meme that just, I don't know. I saw this gorilla smiling and it made me think of you. Anything that, you're just reaching out saying, actually, I'm thinking of you today. Hope school's going okay when they go back to school. Hope school's going okay, hope your day's all right. Maybe special meals at home, DVD nights, family nights. These things don't have to cost anything or, the world. When they're young, often we find that cuddles and physical contact, that creates this kind of reaction between us and our children. As they get older, that can be more difficult to do. My son definitely wouldn't want me to wash his hair, he's 15. So I have to find different ways to just, every now and then, just remind him that I'm still there. You know, it might be that I'll mess his hair up, which he hates as well, but I find it hilarious. But it's just a way that no matter what, we have a bit of a laugh with each other and we have contact. Sometimes I will buy them, you know, their favourite biscuits from when I go shopping. They're quite expensive, so I wouldn't buy them all the time. Yeah? It doesn't have to be anything that is long-winded or that you resent doing. It has to come from a place of things that you want to do. I have known parents who have made hot chocolate for their children before they've gone to bed in the winter. I've known parents who have made their bed for them instead of, you know, kind of stopping nagging them, making their beds, and actually have just started to do it for them because it makes life easier. And it's a nice gesture to do for a child. Yeah? It doesn't have to be a battle. This isn't about you stepping back and giving in to things that you want them to do. This is about you doing things because you care and because you want them to realise that no matter how challenging they are, your love for them will never go away. There are loads more. I'm sure you can think of lots of examples of your own. Underpinning all of this and underpinning all these messages is the fact that there are two hands of parenting from an MVR point of view. Nurture. Relational gestures are nurturing your relationship. They are teaching your children that you love them. Their behaviour you have a problem with. Their choices you maybe have a problem with. But that doesn't mean that they're bad. And when you nurture that love, that will grow stronger. The discipline side of things, MVR has its own way of disciplining behaviours. As you know, if you've watched any of the previous videos, you'll get a gist of the fact that the usual way of disciplining these children isn't going to necessarily get you anywhere. Taking stuff away and grounding and that kind of thing often will just escalate the behaviour to the point where it's breaking. So in some of the coming up videos, we're going to talk about some of the ways that you can discipline through an MVR point of view. But first and foremost, the more nurture you do, the easier the disciplining will become, because the more care they feel from you, the more they'll want to know what you think. Relational gestures for ourselves as parents. Again, this is really important. As it says on there, taking care of yourself doesn't mean you first. It means you too. Every parent needs a break. You know, none of us can do this on our own. We all need to reach out, whether it be to family, to friends, to professionals. We all need help. There was once the phrase, it takes a village to raise a child. And it really does. You know, none of us can do this on our own. And if we try, we just burn out. We're so frazzled emotionally and so just drained, we can't concentrate, and then we can't do the things that we really need to do. Taking that time for ourselves, relational gestures for you, giving yourself, it's okay to walk away. But it doesn't matter if it's 10 minutes, an hour, whatever it is. There are lots of different ways that you can get time. I know that sounds really, that sounds really difficult and a really hard concept to get around, particularly when you've got lots of children. You know, you've got multiple children of all different ages. They all need something. You're constantly on the go. All I'm asking you to do is try to find some way of prioritising just a little bit of your recharge time. Because if you're running on batteries that are flat, then you're not going to be able to give the energy to the children and the energy to this process that will create change. Reach out to people. You can't do this on your own, and nor should you. It's not selfish to say you need a break. It's essential. Some good ways, I suppose, of making sure that you take care of yourself are just by these kind of key 5 phrases. Connect with people. Connect with your friends. I know that's a bit more difficult at the moment in the current times, but whether it's online, on a telephone, I don't know, at a social distance in the garden, anywhere. Connect with people. The isolation that you can feel from being a parent, particularly a parent, even just any parent, let alone a parent with a challenging child, is really, really debilitating, and we need our friends and family or people around us that can help. There are support groups and follow-on groups and all sorts of pages on the internet, particularly NVR focused. So even if you can't get out, even if you feel like you're alone, we now have technology that can connect us with people that are struggling the same way as we are. Please don't be afraid to reach out to that. Try and get active, whether it's walk the dog, go for a run, hit the gym, go for a swim, walk with your friends, walk to school and back. Instead of, well, when you can go. But instead of just kind of, getting in the car and driving off and then going off and doing your next things, try and be as active as you possibly can. Physical energy will definitely improve your mood and recharge your battery. Keep learning. It's always nice to stimulate ourselves. I'm not asking you to go off and learn Spanish in 3 weeks, but the idea that you might be able to learn something new or just try something new. Yeah, I don't know, cook a meal you've never cooked before. Take up a little hobby that you've never done before. Bake cakes, whatever. But just do something, push yourself, try something different. Yeah. Giving back or give, that's about connecting with something bigger than just ourselves. It will, doing gestures, whether it be relational gestures for your children or just being involved in your community, getting involved with friends, that kind of thing. Give something back. Do something for someone else. Yeah, the community groups and spiritual places, those kind of things, they're great for that sort of stuff, like a community involvement. Yeah, and this is my favourite. Be mindful. As parents, we don't spend enough time in the moment. We're constantly thinking about what comes next. I know I used to. I'm always thinking, right, okay, so when I finish this, I've got to do that. And what I never did was never just got to sit in the moment and think, actually, do you know what, right now I'm doing this. So when you walk to school, when was the last time you looked at the trees? When was the last time you felt, I don't know, the air, the warmth air on your skin and actually thought, oh, do you know what, that feels all right? Or looked at the trees and, I don't know, discovered a squirrel that you've probably never seen before. My point is that if you can just be in the moment and just slow your thoughts down, just slow your mind down, life will become more manageable and slower. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you can engage in the moment, you can engage with your children, you can engage with everybody. And that will, help you feel a bit more grounded and hopefully calm things down. And ultimately with the MVR, it's all about calming things down. Thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll see you at the next one.